Horror movie endings can either wreck or make an entire movie, and today I'm going to give you guys my top 10 picks for the best horror movie endings of all time. Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to say that this video is going to be a collaboration with Royal Horror here on YouTube, and I love his channel so much. You guys are definitely going to love his channel if you haven't checked it out. He has incredible horror content and I love the way he does reviews. He's recently doing some DVD collection videos that I've been enjoying so much. I love watching those videos on YouTube and I know a lot of you guys do too, so definitely go and check out his videos. And I'm going to link his channel down below along with the video where he's also going to talk about his top 10 favorite horror movie endings of all time, and I can't wait to check out his list. And if you haven't seen my other video that I did where I was talking about my top 10 horror movie opening scenes, then definitely check that out. I'm very excited to be back talking about horror movie endings because I think we can all agree the opening and the endings of a movie are one of the most important parts. I do want to say though that there are going to be major spoilers in this video because we're talking about the ending of the movie, so I've put timestamps down below so you guys can skip around in case you haven't seen a movie I'm talking about. I wouldn't want to ruin anything for you guys. And before I get started, please comment down below your top 10 list of the best horror movie endings of all time. So like I did last time, I'm going to give 5 honorable mentions, and then for the rest of them, my top 10, I will go thoroughly and explain and talk about it. So my honorable mentions are The Blair Witch Project, The Silence of the Lambs, Rosemary's Baby, Mother, and Midsommar. So all of these almost made it to my top 10 list and I'm very excited. So coming in number 10 is going to be Psycho. So first off, the twist in this movie is genius, and even though going into it I already knew what the twist was, that Norman actually killed his mother and was pretending to be her the entire time. That's a fantastic twist that Alfred Hitchcock really cleverly tied into the movie, and I think the ending just shows how crazy the situation with Norman Bates is, and I just love the ending for that. It always gives me chills. I remember the first time I saw it, I was very young, and I got goosebumps because Anthony Perkins' acting here alone honestly deserves an Oscar nomination. He was amazing. The way he was just able to switch instantly to this maniac in literally 5 seconds is honestly incredible. And the dialogue is amazing. I mean, you have the iconic line that a lot of people quote saying,
"Why, she wouldn't even harm a fly."
And I love that all of this is done through voiceover because it's inside Norman Bates' head, and I love the way the camera slowly zooms in. It's very simple, but I think it works so well. It's kind of telling the audience that this isn't really over. I think it's really important when a horror movie ends on a note that leaves you with chills because you kind of start thinking about it afterwards, and I think a lot of the movies that I'm going to talk about today leave me thinking about it afterwards, and I think that's everything that a horror movie should have, so that's why I'm starting off this list with Psycho. Coming in number 9 is an underrated horror movie that everybody should go watch, Oculus. Ever since I've seen this movie, I've loved every single part of it, and the ending is both extremely frustrating and sad, but is perfect for this type of story. And the ending of this movie also proves why Mike Flanagan is one of the best horror directors working today. He's incredible and he just is so good. So throughout the movie, it parallels between the past with the mirror and the present with the mirror, because basically the mirror has been in this family for a long time, and as we learn in the movie, it affected the family a lot, like a lot. And now the mirror is back, and throughout the movie there's back and forth and a lot of it parallels, and it's really interesting, and then at the end it like really parallels and it's crazy. So in the past, the little boy Tim was basically arrested and taken because it looked like he did all of the horrendous things to the family when in fact it was the mirror, and it's a really sad scene when the little boy is being taken away, and then now he's being released and he's back with his sister, and her sister brought the mirror back, and whatever, the entire movie happens, and then at the end the mirror plays with you and he turns on the kill switch to kill the mirror, and it's kind of like this blade that just goes through the mirror, and it doesn't go through the mirror, it goes through his sister. So basically he killed his sister, the only family member he had left, and it's incredibly sad because as we watch through the movie they had a very strong connection, and it's very, very frustrating. And then he's being arrested again because again it looks like he killed his sister, and it parallels between him being taken as a little boy and him being taken again, and then the very last scene is him looking at the house and he sees his 2 dead parents and his dead sister. This movie honestly is kind of showing that the villain did win, because the villain in the entire movie was this mirror, this entity, and it won because ultimately it got what it wanted in it, and it stayed there. It didn't die, and I think by having the villain win, it's very interesting and very scary, and I think it really fits this movie and obviously the genre of horror. Me caring this much about these characters also shows how good the development of the characters were throughout the movie, and for it to end like this, I think it's perfect because sometimes in horror movies, you can't escape your demons, and this one showed that. Coming in at number 8 is The Conjuring 2. This was also in my list for my favorite horror movie openings because this movie is just so good. You all already know I love this movie, and the ending just does it for me, honestly. Before I get to, I guess, the final scene, the ending, the third act is fantastic. Basically, that third act with Valak it's scary, it's anxiety driven, and it just makes for like the most epic third act ever. And there's literally moments in this final battle with Valak, I'm like, oh, how are they gonna get out of this? Because this demon knows what it's doing, so what are they gonna do? And Vera Farmiga's performance is so good. And then I always get chills when she says, I condemn you back to hell! The actual ending of the movie, the last final shots, is Ed and Lorraine are back at their house, they're chilling, they're having fun, and Ed puts the artifacts that he got from the exorcism, he always takes little stuff, and puts it in that demonic, really scary room. And literally, this ending has nothing to do with horror out of all of the ones on this list, but I just still love it. It ends with them dancing, like slow dancing to Elvis Presley's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You song, and it's really sweet, and they're just dancing, and I just love it. It's like little character moments like that happen in these Conjuring movies are the reason I really like these movies, and they're very different from other horror movies because we get such intimate character moments, and I genuinely care so much for Ed and Lorraine Warren as characters in these movies, and just seeing them kind of dance and slow dance and just kind of relax for a minute is so comforting to me, and I don't know, I just love them. This ending isn't like, wow, it doesn't end in like a cliffhanger or anything, it just ends with them being sweet, and I think it was a very nice way to end it. Then coming in number 7 is probably one of the most terrifying ones on this list, Insidious. This movie is literally one of the scariest movies ever. I remember when I first saw it, I freaked out, especially because of the ending. So basically, Elise is talking to Josh, and they're just having a conversation, and she notices something weird about what's happening here because she knows about paranormal stuff, obviously. And then she grabs the camera and takes a photo, and at first we don't see what's in the photo, and then Patrick Wilson's character, Josh, he goes crazy and chokes her to death and just kills her. And then it doesn't end there. Then Josh's wife, she like notices that something's off, so she goes to see Elise, and she's dead, and she's screaming for Josh, and Josh is nowhere. And then she gets the camera, and then it kind of does a flashback, and we get to see what happened through the perspective of the camera, which I thought was excellent and such a good way to show that scene again, instead of just showing it through like a wide perspective, just showing it through the camera. And this scene always terrifies me, guys, like I'm being completely honest. Elise gets her little camera, takes a picture, and then it gets silent, and it switches to the old lady, and there's no noise. And it's so scary. That like little moment of silence has always scared me so much because it like switches so fast to a bunch of noise. I love it because the nightmare didn't end, and it just makes it so scary. I always end that movie like, oh my god, like they don't even know what's coming for them. Coming in number 6 is The Thing. And this is one of those endings that just gets me thinking and has gotten people to think about this movie for so long. It's been like over 30 years and people are still debating the ending, and I think because of that, it makes it so much more exciting and such a well done ending. For a movie about a creature from another planet, The Thing ends with a really human moment, and I think a lot of this movie, although it's a creature feature, it's very human oriented, which is I think is really important in this type of movie because we learn to care about these characters, and also we want to figure out who the Thing is, and it doesn't really give us an answer at it. The viewers are left to wonder, just like our two main characters that are left, whether the Thing is either inside McGrady or Childs, or whether they're just gonna die, because we never really know if they were in there or if they were in one of them, not in one of them. I think it's very interesting. I think both of them deciding to just kind of stay there was very human because they both didn't really trust each other, because how could you trust somebody in this situation? It's such a perfect and sad ending for the story, and I always wonder in the character's perspective how scary it must be to be looking at the face of someone that you trusted and wondering if the Thing is in there and if it's gonna kill you. It doesn't give us an answer. It just lets us wonder, and I'm still wondering, and there's so many theories, so let me know what you think about that down below. I love when movies don't give us answers. I think it's really interesting when audiences get to like indulge everything and like on rewatch you're like, oh, but it could be this, but it could be that. I think it's so much fun to do that, and The Thing definitely did that. So number 5, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the ending of this movie. I think it's so good, and it's one of the most iconic as well. A lot of people have seen that really amazing shot of the final girl just laughing in blood. It's very iconic. But we have the final girl running for her life, and bless that bus driver for stopping, because in so many movies the drivers just don't see that there's a woman in pain and they just keep going. But this guy, no, this guy was smart. He was even smart enough to get the weapon, that thingy from the car, and throw it at Leatherface, which by the way was so funny, hearing the like bah on his head. It's like really great comic relief for like the tension that was in this scene. And then I really love Sally's hysterical laughter. It's almost as eerie as Leatherface in my opinion. It's so good and it feels so real, and I love that it gives the audience the impression that she's gonna be psychologically broken by this her entire life, and like she might have gotten away from this experience, but this experience will never really leave her, and just by that entire sequence we really got that. And I've seen this movie so many times, and every single time that this movie ends I'm always at the edge of my seat because Leatherface gets so close to her in so many scenes. Coming in number 4 is Scream 4. So this movie has my absolute favorite killer reveal from any of the movies because it's so shocking. I never expected it to be Jill, and Emma Roberts plays Jill really well, especially when it's revealed that she's the killer. I love the little switch ups and stuff, but the ending also shows how strong Jill was, because when she was first revealed to be Jill I was like, how did she do all of that? But then she literally, like in the hospital scene, throws Sydney across.
How are those stitches?
And she was literally like so hurt. How did she do that? I don't know. She has superpowers or something. But I like that scene because it shows how strong she is and that she's like actually Ghostface. And I think what works so well about this ending is that for a moment the audience might think, oh, she's gonna get away with this, because Jill could have gotten away with it, which makes her, in my opinion, one of the best Ghostface. The hospital scene is so crazy. There's so much going on, so much throwing going around, so much fighting. And Sydney says this one line.
You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
It's why this movie is in this list. I really like a little moment at the very end. I think it's one of the last scenes. Sydney, she's like next to Jill. Jill's gone. She's dead. And she kind of just looks at Jill. And I think that little scene is just showing how much she's gone through. And I love Sydney as a character. And she's gone through so much. And she's still so strong. And I think that one scene showed that. And I think it's very important that it did that. Coming in number 3 is probably my favorite horror comedy ever. Ready or Not. This movie is just fantastic, and the ending just makes it that much more better. So basically, her in-laws all just blow up. The thing that they were afraid of happening actually happened, and I think it was so funny because as I was watching the movie, I kept thinking, oh, is that even true? They're probably just being, you know, stupid. And then they all blow up. And it's like fantastic, honestly. Like, it's what they deserve. My favorite part is when her husband blows up. Like, it's just so satisfying to see. And then my favorite part was her walking out, and super nice music is playing in the back because the soundtrack is amazing. And I think this movie also has one of the best closing lines ever. The police, they ask her what happened, and she says,
in-laws.
Literally so good. I just think the reason I love it so much is because it's perfect for this movie. It's so funny and like so crazy and out of nowhere, and I love the fire burning behind her and her in the wedding dress. It's very iconic, and I feel like this scene is gonna just stay on people's minds for so long, and I think it has, because honestly I feel like everybody likes the ending and I think it's so awesome. And she's honestly one of the best final girls, and I loved her little moment. And I also think it's really funny. There's a fire in the back and she's just smoking in front of it. I just think it's hilarious. So coming in number 2 is also one that was in my top 10 horror movie openings, and it is The Sixth Sense. And just like the opening, it complements the ending perfectly, because the way the movie ends is we find out that Bruce Willis's character has been dead the entire time. And we see this because his wife is looking at the wedding, and then she says a line, and then we figure out that he died that night that we saw in the opening scene. And the reason I love the opening and the ending so much is because, like I said, they complement each other so well, and I think they were really thought out. And even knowing the ending, because I've seen this movie so many times, I'm always so impressed by it because I didn't see it coming at all. Even when I rewatch it and I know what's gonna happen and I can see the signs of him being dead, it's so impressive, and it always gives me chills that this character has been dead the entire time. I also think it's funny that the boy learned how to deal with ghosts from a ghost himself, and it's just so good. Like, I love this ending so much. And it's also so sad when the wife is saying goodbye Malcolm, and he says goodbye to his wife because he's realized, and it's important for his character that he realizes this, because he hadn't been able to leave this world because he felt like he hadn't finished what he was there to do. And it's just such an important ending, and this has one of the best plot twists of all time, and it has one of the best endings of all time. I also really love the acting in Bruce Willis in this scene, because you can really tell the pain that he's feeling and this sort of like sadness that he gets all over when he realizes everything that's actually been going on, and it's just incredible. Like, it's so good. And coming in at first place for the top horror movie ending of all time, in my opinion, has to be one of my favorite horror movies of all time as well, The Shining. I love that movie so much. Like, every time I think about it, I love it more, and the ending of this movie really solidified why I love this movie. Because we have Jack frozen to death, and we saw that, and we saw the family leave, and then it doesn't end there, which I thought was brilliant. Stanley Kubrick gets the camera and it takes us to this image, and it starts going through the pictures, and it leaves us in this image of the ball, and it starts slowly zooming in to Jack Torrance's face in the 1920s. And it just ends like that, and you're left to wonder, was he there all along? Was he a ghost? Is it that he's now a part of the hotel? What is the truth? It's literally so good. Always get so many chills when it ends because it really makes you wonder, what? Similar to The Thing, it doesn't give us an answer. It just kind of leaves us wondering, and I saw that movie for the first time in middle school, and I'm still thinking about it now. I'm seriously so amazed by this movie, and this ending is awesome. Like, it's such a good ending. One that people have been theorizing about for such a long time. There are so many wacky theories and some like more grounded theories around this movie. A lot of it comes from that ending, and it's so good. And that's why I love this movie so much, and that's why it's my favorite horror movie ending of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I had so much fun talking about horror movies, and let me know what other top 10 lists you want me to do. I've been having fun making these. And of course, go check out Royal Horror's video. He has it up already. I'll link it down below like I already said. Make sure to watch his video because I'm sure we're gonna have different lists because again, there's so many horror movies out there. And again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for 600 subscribers. I cannot believe I have 600 subscribers. You guys are awesome. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!